Hello everyone! Thank you so much! If you're new to this channel, my name is Rebecca Amber Clark, and I'm a voice actress. I post voice acting videos and song covers here on YouTube. I really wanted to show my appreciation to each and every one of you for helping this channel reach 100 subscribers. So I've put together a list of 100 tips for voice actors, one to represent each subscriber. Depending on how long you've been in the voice acting community, you may already be familiar with many of these tips. The community is like one big supportive think tank, and I absolutely can't take credit for coming up with most of these tips, but I wanted to compile a big list all in one place where it would be easy for new voice actors to find them. I hope you enjoy the video, and that these tips are useful to you. Alright, ready? Here we go! 1. Stay hydrated. Making sure to drink plenty of water not only keeps you healthy overall, it keeps your voice box lubricated so you don't hurt yourself when you record. Your voice will last longer during a recording session, and you'll most likely sound better too. 2. Avoid problem foods before recording. For most people, this includes coffee, chocolate, and other caffeine sources, dairy products like milk, ice cream, cheese, and yogurt, and anything high in sugar. Caffeine because it tends to dry out your throat. Dairy and sugar, on the other hand, are sticky and can thicken the mucus in your throat and cause problems that way. Ew, I know. Some people seemingly have no problems with some or all of these foods, however, but it's definitely something to be aware of and think carefully about. 3. Try eating green apples to help with mouth noise. Weirdly enough, this works. The malic acid in the apple can really help cut down on smacking and clicking mouth noises. 4. Warm up first. This is a good idea anytime before a recording session, but especially if you're going to be doing anything that could be hard on your throat, like screaming, singing, and gravelly or squeaky character voices. Even if all you're doing is some relaxed narration using your natural voice, remembering to do warm-up exercises can make you sound a lot better in the finished recording. 5. If possible, stand up while recording. This allows your lungs to work at their full potential. If you must sit because of a disability or because of the way your recording space is set up, sit up as straight as you can. 6. Stay physically relaxed. Tension in your body can ruin a good take and limit your breathing. Tension in your throat can cause injury. 7. Many people have a particular time of day that they perform at their best. Try to find yours. It could be first thing in the morning when you're fresh, for example, or in the evening when your other responsibilities have been taken care of. 8. Keep recording for the entire session, then edit later so you don't miss a good take. 9. When you record, remember to record at least 10 seconds of silence. This is called room tone, and it's useful for you or the audio engineer to have for noise removal. 10. Use a dog clicker to mark takes. You can also clap, snap your fingers, or any other quick, snappy noise that will show up as a spike on the waveform. That way, when you do go back and edit, you'll be able to find the takes you did or didn't like quickly. 11. Keep copies of your raw, unedited recordings in case you mess something up while editing. Then you still have the original file and don't have to record it again. 12. Trust your instincts. Don't overthink your first take on a set of lines. You can always think about what to do differently the second time around. 13. Do think about what you can do differently when it's time for a second take. Be creative. Come up with something as different from your first take as possible. 14. It's normal to hate the sound of your own voice being played back as a recording, especially at first. So if this sounds like you, don't worry. Just keep at it, and it should get easier with time. It does not mean your voice is bad. It just means you're not used to hearing your voice the way other people hear you. 15. Wait till the end of a session to record any screaming or for roles with voices that are hard to do. This way, you won't wear your voice out at the beginning. 16. If something hurts your voice, don't do it. No, not even if it only hurts a little, or stops hurting after a few minutes, or both. If you don't know how to perform a role safely, you could do permanent damage to your voice. 17. Don't record when you're sick with a sore throat. You can cause permanent damage to your vocal cords that way too. It's just not worth it. There will always be another audition, another role. If you permanently wreck your voice, though, you're out of the game for good. 18. Pineapple juice, hot tea with lemon and honey, or gargling warm salt water can help soothe a sore throat. Keep in mind, this still doesn't give you a pass to record voice acting while you're sick, but it's still helpful to know. 19. Work on acting itself before working on doing voices. Yes, you might be able to do a wide range of amazing voices, but if you can't act while doing them, you'll still have trouble getting cast for roles. Since you usually only have to do one voice at a time for a role anyway, why not work on your own voice first? 20. Instead of worrying about which characters your voice will fit when auditioning, try to find ways to make a role fit your voice. Remember, the only one with your voice is you. Celebrate it! Go out there and show directors how you can make their project special. Once you've been voice acting for a while, you'll start to get a feel for which roles you're most often cast for. That's your niche, but never be afraid to branch out and break away from it either. 21. When recording, make sure noisy things are turned off. Air conditioners, laundry machines, dishwashers, TVs, loud family members, etc. 22. In the summer, turn on a fan or air conditioner in your recording space before you record. That way, it will be as cool as possible when you turn it off to record. Same thing with noisy heaters in the winter. 23. Dress for the weather. Warm clothes in winter, cool ones in summer, so you won't be so hot in the booth in summer or cold in the winter. 24. Don't wear noisy jewelry like bangle bracelets or clothing that rustles when recording. 25. Try acting with your whole body. Feel free to make faces, wave your arms, or anything else that helps you tune in better with your role. 26. Be careful not to bump into the microphone while recording. Even if you don't hear it now, it can cause a loud thump in the recording itself. 27. Don't play with the microphone cord while recording. If you can help it, don't touch it or the microphone at all. Twisting the cord around, even if you don't bump into it, can sometimes cause noise in the recording. 28. Record in mono audio rather than stereo for half the file size but 100% of the sound quality. 29. Look up pronunciations for unfamiliar words. 30. When learning accents, listen to native speakers. 31. When doing accents, remember dialect. For example, in an English accent, you might say you were in hospital, but in a general American accent, you would say you were in the hospital. 32. Take breaks often to stretch and move around. 33. Always record sooner rather than later for projects you have been cast in. Don't wait until just before the deadline unless you can't help it. You never know when you might get sick, or have a family emergency, or lose access to the internet for some reason. 34. Be patient with yourself. You didn't learn how to walk in a single day either. Expect to keep learning for as long as you continue voice acting. 35. Remember to exercise your voice on days off, too. Like anything else, your voice needs to stay in shape so your voice acting stays at peak performance when you need it. 36. Audition, audition, audition. Any day you have time to record but haven't got lines for any roles you've been cast for, audition for as many things as you can. This is also another great way to exercise your voice and keep in practice when you've got a dry spell between projects. 37. Bookmark casting calls in order of audition deadlines, so you know which ones you need to record first. 38. When you audition, try out for as many roles as possible, not just the lead character. This gives you a better chance of being cast. 39. Always be polite. Please and thank you go a long way. Directors are more likely to want to work with people who are pleasant to talk to. 40. Once you send in an audition, try to forget about it. Sometimes directors will reach out to let everyone who auditioned know whether or not they got a role, especially on smaller hobby projects. But a lot of the time you'll only hear back if you were cast, and not with a rejection. This doesn't mean you did badly, just that the director doesn't have time to send an email out to everyone who didn't make it. 41. Rejection does not mean failure. You literally cannot physically voice every single role in existence, so don't worry about the ones you miss. Just keep at it. 42. Do not offer to work for free on a paid casting call to try to up your chances of being cast. Trust me, there are plenty of casting calls out there for unpaid projects. If you want to voice act for free, try your hand at some of them instead. Saying, "I'll do it for free if you cast me," just makes you look desperate and unprofessional. 43. Your sex, gender, or physical body doesn't always determine the voices you can do or the roles you can play. For example, men can often voice elderly women, and women can often voice young boys. Also, there's at least one male voice actor I can think of who can voice both male and female characters with ease. Remember, you don't have to look the part, only sound it. 44. If you want to improvise a line, make sure you also include a take of the same line exactly as written. Many directors absolutely love it when voice actors give them improv work, but sometimes scripts are just not flexible, and there's no room to change them. 45. Don't be afraid to make a fool of yourself. It's far easier for a director to ask you to pull back a little than for them to try to draw you out of your shell. 46. Be gracious if you're asked to redo lines. Being accommodating and easy to work with leaves a good impression and makes you more likely to be cast again in the future. Just like voice actors talk to each other, so do directors. 47. Don't get taken advantage of. It's one thing to take direction well and do some revisions. It's another to deal with constant nitpicking and several rounds of revisions on a single line. If you're being asked to do that much work, you should be getting paid for your time. 48. Be upfront with directors about any limitations. Parents won't allow you to swear? Don't want to do explicit sexual content? Can't scream like you're being murdered because you live in an apartment building? Yes, you might miss out on some roles, but those are just roles you wouldn't have been able to record for in any case. 49. Ask first, agree second. For example, if you don't want to curse, make sure to ask if a role involves cursing before you accept it. 50. Just because you audition for a role doesn't mean you have to accept it. If further details come out that won't work for you when you're offered a role, it's completely fine to politely turn the project down and walk away. Trust your gut feeling, too. If something just plain seems off about a potential project or client, you can always refuse to voice act for them. You don't need a specific reason. You can just say, "Thank you, but unfortunately, I need to decline this role," and leave it at that. 51. Stick to your guns. If a director asks you to do something you're not comfortable doing for a role, it's better to give up the role than get talked into something that makes you unhappy. Even if you've already been cast for a role, you have absolutely no obligation to do something that you didn't agree to ahead of time. 52. Can't find time to practice voice acting? Practice while driving in your car, or doing household chores like laundry, dishes, or cooking. Get creative and have fun! 53. Read books aloud, to yourself, your friends, your children, or volunteer for story time at the library. 54. Listen, listen, listen. Anytime you're at work, school, the grocery store, or anywhere around people, listen to people talking. Listen not just to what they're saying, but how they say it. Listen for ways that people's voices are different from each other. Listen to what real laughter or crying sounds like. 55. When you play video games, try giving the characters different voices and reading their dialogue boxes aloud. 56. Try mimicking different animal calls. It's fun, a great way to learn how to reproduce individual sounds, and can come in handy if you ever want to voice act as an animal. 57. Diction is important. Practice speaking clearly and enunciating your words carefully. 58. Join a debate team or take public speaking lessons. 59. Join a community theater. 60. Take a drama class in high school or college. 61. Consider taking an improv class. 62. Play D&D to practice improv. 63. Join a choir or take singing lessons to learn how to breathe properly. 64. Make your breathing part of the performance. Sighing, shaky breaths, sharp inhalations, breathlessness with excitement, go wild. 65. Say it, don't read it. How would you say the line if you were actually saying it to someone yourself, instead of voice acting and reading pre-written lines? 66. Study great performances and see if you can figure out what makes them so good and what you can learn how to do from them. 67. Study awful performances too, and see if you can figure out what makes them so bad and what you can learn from them to avoid doing. 68. Energy, speed, and volume are different things. So, if a role calls for a very energetic read, it doesn't necessarily need to be louder or faster than normal. 69. You can change the meaning of a line by emphasizing different words. What are you doing here? Means something completely different than, what are you doing here? 70. Learn from other voice actors, but don't compare yourself to them. Your voice acting journey is as unique as your voice, acting skills, and you yourself are. 71. Connect with other voice actors via Twitter, Discord, message forums, etc. to share advice and critique each other. 72. Make a separate email account just for voice acting. This isn't totally necessary, especially if you only voice act occasionally for fun, but if you start to do a lot of projects, it's a great way to keep organized. Then, that recording deadline reminder doesn't get buried under several dozen other emails that have nothing to do with voice acting. 73. Make sure you use a contract anytime a voice acting job pays more than you can afford to lose. 74. For very high-paying jobs, ask for a deposit up front. 75. Treat every project creator like a VIP, and take every role and audition seriously. 76. Research before spending any money on things like equipment, acting lessons, or demo reel production. 77. You don't need a demo reel when you first start out. It's better to wait until you've had enough practice before you make your first one. 78. Keep impressions out of your demo reel. Directors want to hear what you can do, not hear an impression of Sonic the Hedgehog. 79. Make sure you don't let loud music or sound effects overpower your actual voice in your demo reel. It won't matter if you're a fantastic voice actor if the director can't hear your performance clearly. 80. Avoid including other voice actors in your demo reel, or at least keep it to a minimum, and make sure it's very clear when it is and isn't your voice. 81. Only use a voice type or accent in an audition or demo reel if it's one you can do and sustain for a role if you're cast. It can be tempting to try to impress directors with a wide range, but if you can't deliver something for the finished project, you'll only end up disappointing the director and yourself. 82. Make short recordings and keep them on file for different voices you can do, so you can refer back to them later. 83. Noisy, uncooperative family or roommates keep you from recording? Negotiate. Offer to take over a chore, or trade another favor in exchange for some peace and quiet during scheduled recording times. 84. Respect deadlines. If you absolutely have to miss one, tell the director sooner rather than later, and have a good reason. 85. For live sessions, be on time. Don't make an appointment for 10 a.m., then waltz onto Skype or Discord at 11:35 a.m. Even being 5 minutes late is not fair, unless it's for a reason outside your control. It may not seem like a big deal, but remember, when you show up late, you're stealing time from whoever you made that appointment with. 86. Check time zones, whether for meetings, live recording sessions, or deadlines. 8 p.m. for you may be 3 a.m. the next morning for a director, or vice versa. 87. Ask questions. If a director says, "I loved your demo reel, will you do this role?" Ask, "Which voice from my demo reel would you like me to use?" If something is unclear in your script, ask for clarification. It's a lot faster and easier on both of you to ask a question and get an answer than to have to redo a lot of lines because you didn't ask first. 88. Be patient with questions that clients ask you. Just because something is obvious to you doesn't mean it's obvious to the client, and it doesn't make them stupid if they don't know something. Besides, if you're patient with their questions, they'll remember that and be more likely to be patient with yours or ask you back for future work. 89. Save the drama for the script. If you really need to publicly call out a client or another voice actor, make sure it's worth it. If you constantly complain on social media with petty things like, "I can't believe this one client had me redo all my lines," it won't make them look bad. It just makes you look hard to work with. 90. Make sure you don't use bass-boosted headphones. When listening back to your recordings and editing audio, you need to hear what it sounds like without the added bass. 91. Figure out the best distance from your mouth to the microphone. If you set it too close to you, you'll hear pops, puffs, and too much proximity effect in the recording. Too far, and your mic will pick up an echo, and the recording may have a hollow or faint faraway sound to it. 92. The setup that works for you with one mic may not work with the next. When you upgrade to a new mic, you'll have to start over to find your new best setup. 93. Learn how to work the mic. Sometimes moving closer for proximity effect, or a bit farther away for louder lines can be very useful or even necessary. 94. If you don't have a pop filter already, get one. 95. There are a lot of DIY tutorials online to make voice acting equipment ranging from pop filters to whole recording booths. If budget is an issue or you want a project, consider looking into those. 96. No recording booth? No problem. Look to your closet. Many voice actors record in a closet stuffed with clothes. The more clothes, the better the sound dampening. It doesn't matter what your recording space looks like, only what it sounds like. 97. Don't have a space where you can record in your home? Try recording in your car. 98. If you are a college student, your school may have a sound room available to record in. Ask around. 99. Have fun. Even if you want to make a career out of voice acting, there are many far easier jobs you can do if you want to earn money doing something you hate. So don't make yourself hate voice acting. Always remember why you love doing it, and keep it that way. 100. Going on hiatus is not quitting. If you need to step away from voice acting for a while for any reason, it's perfectly fine to do so. Even if you do quit altogether, you'll surely find the path you want to take your life on. And that was 100 tips for voice actors. I hope you liked the list. Thanks again, everyone, And I'll see you all next time.